Whoa! Jeezy peeps. I love cars with an internal combustion engine. The noise, the smell, the feel, everything about them just adds into that whole driving experience for me. And it's why I've never been particularly interested in electric cars, and certainly why I've never driven one. But today, I'm looking to change that, as I recently found out that there is a Tesla self-service station 2 minutes along the road from where I live. So, I booked myself a test drive in the most recent Model Y, and I'm going to talk you guys through the booking process and how easy it was, and give you my first impressions on driving a Tesla and my thoughts on electric cars in general, to find out whether or not I, a proper petrolhead, could be convinced to go electric in the future. So, if you want to find out what all the hype is about, stick around and let's go find out. First up, the booking process is really simple. Go to the Tesla website, select vehicles, then test drive, and it'll display the two cars that you'll have available for booking your self-serve test drive. It's either the Model 3 or the Model Y. Select what car you want to do, scroll down, and then select your nearest Tesla self-serve test drive station. Pick the date that you want to take the car out for, select the time, fill in your driver details below, and click submit. It really is that simple. You will need to have a valid driving license, as they will request a picture of this, and make sure that you download the Tesla app before your booking so that you can get access to the car. You'll have to create an account, but when you get there, it's just a case of locating the car, using the app to open it, and away you go. If you want to have a secondary driver, they will have to book their own self-serve test drive, but as you can see here, it's dead simple to do, and it's absolutely painless. It's one of the best test driving services I have ever experienced, and I would definitely recommend it if you've got one near to you. Hey everyone, so here we are. I'm out in my first test drive and experience of an electric car, and truth be told, I'm actually really blown away by how this thing drives. The composure of it on the road is fantastic, and obviously that acceleration is just absolutely exhilarating. The instantaneous speed that this thing produces is just absolutely unreal. And even though I've only tickled the throttle so far on these back roads here, I can tell that this could be a lot of fun through some twisties. Despite its size and its weight, it is really responsive. The steering in this thing is really quite communicative. I expected it to be a little bit lighter, but it's not. I've got it on the standard setting. You can change that up in the 15.4-inch touchscreen here. But yeah, I'm just absolutely blown away by how much I am enjoying driving this car. This is a 2025 Model Y, and it's the launch edition, so it means that it comes with some additional options that you wouldn't get as standard. It is a dual motor all-wheel drive model, so that means it comes with a 75 kilowatt battery, can be charged at 250 kilowatts using the Tesla supercharger network, has a range of about 370 odd miles to charge, and has a 0 to 60 time of around about 4.6 seconds, which just makes this car an absolute flying machine. On paper, it's similar to the Porsche, but because it is instant and you're not waiting around for that gradual linear buildup that you would do in a petrol engine, it just feels absolutely awesome to drive. I love technology, and I'm very surprised it's taken me this long to come out and experience an electric car, and especially a Tesla, because the sheer amount of tech in this thing, it does beep and it bongs at you constantly because it's picking up road signs and things along the side of the road with the cameras that are along the wings and the B-pillar, and the new one that's on the front of the car there for this latest generation. And it does get a little bit intrusive, don't get me wrong. I do think there's a fine line between tech and interference. And yeah, it does get a little bit annoying, the car constantly bonging at you, telling you when you're getting into certain areas, but it keeps you right, to be fair, and that's the main thing. But to drive, it's a little bit crashy over some of the bumps here, but no worse than my BMW X5 on its 20-inch wheels and run-flat tyres. In fact, if anything, it's probably nicer. It's certainly a lot quieter than my BMW X5, and it's a hell of a lot sportier. And believe me, my X5, it's a 40D, so it can shift when it wants to, but this thing is just on another level. The visibility out of it is fantastic. You've got this massive front screen here. We've got great visibility at the side windows. And there's also this wonderfully huge sunroof there. It comes with a slight tint to stop sun rays being able to come in from practically every angle of the car. And I think that does make a hell of a difference to being able to drive this car, because the visibility and just the sheer amount of windows in this thing is, there's a lot. Now, compared to the previous generation Model Y, there has been some changes. Tesla have updated the front. They've included a new full width LED bar, which goes from one side of the car to the other, and is very reminiscent of the design style of the Cybertruck. Thankfully, that is the only thing that it has really taken from the Cybertruck as far as design cues go. But for me, it has really modernized the car. I wasn't a big fan of the look of the previous Model Ys. It just really makes the car look far more futuristic and matches the technology that is now behind this car. Because that is essentially what this feels like. It feels like you're sitting in something from the 21st century. In here, obviously it follows the typical Tesla design cues of minimalist style. There's very little in here. Everything's done through this 15.4-inch touchscreen. And I mean everything. Your lights, your air conditioning, even putting it in park and drive. Everything is done from there. And there is also a new 8-inch screen in the back so that the kids can be entertained, and it has things like Spotify and Netflix, YouTube, and even comes preloaded with some games on there. I noticed Stardew Valley. And as a software designer, I love that. I love my tech, and I'm very surprised that I have taken this long to get myself into an electric car, certainly get myself into a Tesla, because they are so filled with tech. As far as storage space goes, there's loads of storage space. Oh my God, I can't even get my hand deep enough in there to see how deep that goes. That's huge. There's cup holders, there's things in the door there for big bottles. It obviously has the traditional Tesla front, which you could fit a small suitcase into, and the boot in the back there holds about 2,100 litres of stuff. It is 20 litres smaller than the previous generation Model Y, but you wouldn't really notice it. I don't rate things on how many suitcases I can fit in. I rate them as to whether or not I can get 2 kids' seats in there and a German Shepherd dog. And whilst I haven't tested it out, the dog would go in there no problem at all. I would feel incredibly sorry for him bouncing around the back as you're trying to put the foot down in this thing. But as far as storage space and the sort of comfort of the inside of the cabin here goes, it is very, very nice place to be. Some people not a big fan of the minimalist look. It does take a little bit of getting used to not having any dials straight in front of you and having to rely on the touchscreen over here. But like the 1-foot regenerative braking, once you spend a little bit of time with it, you do start to slowly get accustomed to it. You start to get used to it, and it starts to become second nature for you. It is such a joy to drive. I did not expect myself to like it as much as I have. This being the launch edition, it comes with a 75 kilowatt battery. In fact, they all do. But you can also get a single motor rear-wheel drive version, a dual motor rear-wheel drive version, this version, which is all-wheel drive dual motor, and also the performance version as well. They all have varying specs. And depending on what model you go for, prices range from anywhere from $44,500 from the entry-level rear-wheel drive single motor version, all the way up to about £60,000 and beyond for this, the launch edition, and then obviously the performance version after this. They've also updated the rear so that the bumper is no longer one piece, which means it is a lot cheaper now to repair and fix should something go wrong. And they have included a nice, very subtle light bar along the back that actually reflects the light from above down onto the Tesla badge. And it's a very, very nice design cue. It looks lovely. The previous Model Y generation is one of the best-selling electric cars that money can buy. And that's partly down to the Tesla supercharger network. And it just gives you that peace of mind that when you are traveling, you're going to be able to top up. I think Tesla claim around about 160, 170 miles in under a 15-minute charge, which will help you, because that is what I think would put me off owning an electric car. Yeah, the acceleration's great, the handling's quite nice, the cabin's functional, minimalist but functional, and it's the charging aspect. I don't do enough miles per year. I do maybe 4,000, 5,000 miles, and it would only be up and down to the airport. And I don't know if that would justify to me going out purchasing an electric car purely because of the type of driving that I do. I don't drive enough to be able to warrant going out and spending £60,000 on one of these. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up here and join the dual carriageway and see what it's like. And I don't know if you noticed there, but I used an indicator stock. One of the changes that they've made from the Model 3 is that they have reintroduced a conventional and traditional indicator stock. They took it away on the Model 3 and they put it on the steering wheel, but they brought it back for the Model Y after multiple complaints. So let's see how this gets up to speed. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. 70, bang. The cars behind me didn't stand a chance. They would not have been able to catch up to me there at all. The instant acceleration in this thing is just absolutely overwhelming, and it is an absolute joy to drive. I do find actually trying to maintain a specific speed is a little bit difficult. I'm constantly fluctuating here between sort of 67 and 70 miles an hour. I can't find a sweet spot on the accelerator that gives me exactly where I want it to be. But everything about this car, I'm just absolutely blown away. One thing that does take a little bit of getting used to is that regenerative braking. The one pedal driving that this thing offers, it does take a little bit of getting used to. But once you do get used to it, it feels fine actually. When you take it through some of the twisties and you're not having to go on the brake, you're just removing your foot from the accelerator pedal, it becomes intuitive. It is a little bit weird on its slow speeds because it does feel like it's quite grabby. Basically, it applies more brake than I would do at this point. I prefer coasting until I can then have to apply the brake, and it just applies the brake just a little bit too soon for me. I would like to potentially try it with that turned off. But it is incredibly agile around here. And even through these corners here, it just absolutely glides around. It's very smooth. The accelerator pedal is very responsive. The steering feels nice. And can I change the driving dynamic while I'm driving? I don't know. How do I do that? I don't know if I can. Dynamics. Deceleration. Oh, look. And then let's try that. Let's see how that goes. So I've made the steering a little bit heavier, a little bit less responsive. I don't know if I like that as much, to be honest with you. I think the standard mode was a bit better. Certainly the deceleration aspect feels far better. It's far less in your face and constantly just trying to slow the car down. I will have to remember that I have turned off and I'll need to use the brake because the car won't come to a stop without it. But if I'm in here to answer my original question of, could me, a true petrol head, be convinced to go out and buy an electric car? I wouldn't say no. After experiencing it and getting an idea of what they're like, I think I could be sold, but not yet. I think the range isn't enough on them. I think the infrastructure that we have here in Britain isn't good enough for being able to travel long distances. I hate the thought of having to stop for 40 minutes at a service station to charge it up. And it's only going to get better. Battery technology has already improved tenfold in the last 5 to 10 years. So it is only going to get better. And that 250 kilowatt charging that this car currently offers will increase and you will be able to charge faster. But even 15 minutes for 170 miles, it's just not enough to convince me to go out and buy one yet. But once the technology does get there, I could definitely be on board. I think I could be interested in getting myself one of these. They are very fun to drive, and I'm actually really, really surprised by how the whole thing comes together. This is a particularly good corner. You can get a good bit of speed through here. And it just holds the road so well. And part of that is down to the fact the 75 kilowatt battery that comes in these is underneath you, which really spreads out that weight distribution and just makes the car feel very planted. I'm incredibly impressed. And of course, that acceleration that the car has is just unbelievable. That for me is the main selling point. That it's just so addictive. I think I would have to find excuses to get on motorways more often than what I do at the moment. Because yeah, it just wants to go, and I love it. It feels so modern. It has brought driving into the digital age. If you think about a petrol engine as being analog and this thing digital, it's a really apt description of what it feels like to drive this thing. So overall, if you guys out there are looking for something electric, this is amazing. I obviously don't have much to compare it with, but yeah, I'm frankly absolutely blown away by how much I've enjoyed driving this. So if you guys want to join me on the next road trip, call shotgun by liking the video and subscribing to the channel, and I'll make sure to put you in the passenger seat of the next one. All the best, and see you then.